This is Digging Deeper Without the Coalface. This week's episode is brought to you by Easy Group, your trusted partner in vehicle rentals, mechanical services and sign solutions. Servicing Mackay, Moranbah and Emerald with dedication and excellence. Everything is easy with Easy Group. And here's your host, Jessica Rouse.
I've had the pleasure of going to actually hosting the careers dinners for the New South Wales Minerals Council last year, and it was so much fun. And I'm sure I've said it to so many people that I was always amazed is probably the wrong word, but I was always so amazed to see how excited the kids were about a career in mining. And one of the wonderful ladies that I got to work with at each of these events was Sharon Bushby. She's the Outreach Coordinator, Careers, Education and Industry Skills with the New South Wales Minerals Council. Sharon, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Jess. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for jumping on with me.
No, you're welcome, and thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. Now, as I mentioned, I first met you when we were doing these careers dinners out at Orange and Parks and Wollongong and all sorts of places. And you were with Centennial before you were with New South Wales Mining. In terms of your mining experience, how did you get involved in the industry?
Well, funnily enough, I grew up in Newcastle, in a mining town.
Best place.
Best place ever. Not at all biased. But I didn't actually work in mining until the last 10 years or so. So I've worked in other positions and roles, but didn't actually join the mining industry until the last 10 years, largely working with apprentices and trainees with a local GTO or group training organisation. And then during that time had the opportunity to work with Centennial as well. And that's where I really got my introduction into the mining industry.
Yeah. What was it that, kept you wanting to stick around the industry?
I think the industry, I've had the luxury of working with lots of different companies and businesses, small, family-owned, large businesses. But what I really like about the mining industry is it is really a supportive industry. It's a family industry, especially when you start working on actual mine sites.
Yeah.
They're very family-oriented, great mates, always out to look out for each other, and always interested to see, how they can better promote what they do. Always excited to share what they do.
Yeah. So explain to me your role. I'm sure to some people it just sounded like I just chucked a whole bunch of words together for your title.
It's very world's longest title. Basically, what I am responsible for is introducing our exciting industry to students and educators, maybe correcting some of the misconceptions, some of the things that people are discussing around the dinner table that may not necessarily be true, especially around the longevity of the careers that are available, and also just helping students find their way a little bit. So I think we've gotten very good as industries showcasing what we do, but it's quite confusing when you get to an expo and there's thousands of us there all trying to attract the attention of these students. I think to get that direct engagement, which is what my role is all about, is huge in actually capturing their attention, but also then giving them a bit more of an explanation as what it looks like to work for mining.
Yeah, because I guess, do you find that a lot of students, whatever age, just tend to think mining, drive a dump truck, dig coal out of the ground, and that's it?
Absolutely. To be able to talk to them about such diverse roles from anything, from mining engineering, chemical engineering, metallurgy, geology, surveying, and when you start actually breaking that down and what it looks like and what those people get to do each day, you kind of blow their minds a little bit that it's not just about digging holes and driving trucks.
Exactly. There'd be so many little light bulb moments.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the careers dinners that I mentioned. So these are basically, for anyone who doesn't know, you get you set up for a night in Orange, Wollongong, Parks, wherever it might be, and the students from local schools come, and you've got the local mining companies there, the TAFE or the Zeal Futures or whatever it might be, the unis, NSW and UOW, I guess, are the two big predominant ones, and basically introducing the kids to mining. And the stats that you sent me before we sat down and had a chat about the engagement and the number of kids who you do engage through the careers dinners and other things is unreal.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I think the big point that I'm most proud of over the last 12 months is that we've really worked on meaningful engagement as opposed to just engaging. So you can go to an expo and meet with 5,000 students over the course of a day. But then I do question how much of that is actually meaningful, where the dinners or the information nights, so we're rebranding this year to a nice new name. I think that they provide a whole package for that student, or even for, the parents. Parents would have fears, concerns, questions around their student or their child going into mining. It's not often that you get all of the professionals in one room at one time and can ask any question that you might have. But again, it's those light bulbs too that you mentioned. You can sit in one of those information nights and watch the light bulbs going off around the room when students hear from current graduates and they hear from current apprentices about what their experience was like. And I think that's the most relevant point. That's where it becomes meaningful, when you can actually create a picture. And these are students that may never have even walked or set foot on a mine site before they suddenly get a much clearer picture of what it might look like.
Yeah, exactly. And for them to have access to the people that they do at those nights, I mean, I've heard stories of kids bringing their resume in and going, like, I'd really like a job. Getting direct access to those mining companies, whoever it is priceless.
Well, it's also the best way to make a good impression as a student. I've worked largely in recruitment in the mining industry over the last 10 years. And one of the main reasons that I actually took this position with Minerals Council was the opportunity to have a positive effect on the people that are coming into the industry. So lots of young people don't necessarily know what we're looking for and how to be the best candidate they can be. So having the opportunity to drop your resume in and actually speak to the employer in that space, ask questions and create a positive first impression. I don't know about all of the employers in the room, but I know that when I was there on behalf of Centennial, I remembered who those students were when they came back through recruitment processes. There you go. And I think it has a huge impact on actually getting in. And that's the biggest question we get is, how do I get in? So the info nights are a fantastic chance for students to actually get in and talk to them.
Exactly. And that's not the only program that you do. Take me through some of the stuff that you do in schools.
So in schools, we have quite a few different things that we have worked on over the last 12 months and will continue to improve into the coming 12 months. One of the programs that I probably had the most activity and most engagement with students on was the VR experiences. So we have VR headsets that are loaded with software so that students can try out 5 mining jobs. So we I'll go into a classroom with maybe 20 or 25 students. We do a bit of a mining snapshot, bit of a presentation on what's happening in New South Wales mining at the moment. We jump into a few little rocks and metals activities, which funnily enough is one of their favourite things to do. Once you start giving them stuff that they can pick up and hold and shine torches on and magnifying glasses and really start investigating, they love that. I've usually got to corral them back in and put the headsets on. But they get the chance to be really hands-on and just start investigating. And I think that's where those interest areas start opening up. And then they put the headsets on and they try five different mining jobs. So I think mining engineering, surveying, geology, a IROC controller, and a trade excavator position is on there. Quite funny to look around a room and see 20 students with headsets on, all like waving their hands in the air, and but they have such a great time with it. And again, I think it's that real space where you can shine a light on what we do in a safe way. And I can't remember off the top of my head how many students we saw with that program last year, but it was in the hundreds. There's no way I would have been able to organise hundreds of students to get to a mine site, but with that software we can.
Exactly. And as you said, like with the rocks, it's hands-on. With the VR, it's hands-on. You can see what's going. You get a real actual real life sense of the industry.
And it's meaningful. It's
exactly.
Not, and I probably sound like I'm quite negative towards expos, but in my opinion, and I have attended quite a lot of expos, I just think it's overwhelming for students to come into an expo space with all of us, trying to get their attention.
Exactly.
Where give me 20 students for an hour and a half, and my goal is to get all of them at least interested or know that mining's not for them.
Yeah.
But my target is to walk away from that student engagement and have at least 4 or 5 that have come up to me afterwards to ask more questions and to engage further. I think that there's a lot more that we get from that kind of contact.
Oh, yeah. And having been a student that has gone to those sorts of careers days, like I know I've either walked into the basketball court or whatever it is where it's set up and gone, I know what I'm interested in. I just want to go to Newcastle Uni and I want to go to this communications place because that's what I know I want to do. I don't care about anything else. Other students, friends of mine, it's a day off.
Yeah.
We're not in school in the classroom. We're just going to go around and get all the free stuff.
Yeah, the free stuff, get the lollies and the pens.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think if I have time to invest in student engagement, I definitely want that time where it's, more hands-on. You can give them more information. You can take the time for them to ask questions.
Exactly.
And answer questions as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the engagements. The other in-school program outside of, sometimes I'm invited to give presentations to a larger student body. But one of the other engagements that we came up with last year was called Trade Ready.
Okay, yep.
And again, this came very much from my experience as a recruiter, identifying that we've got a large group of students over the coming years and the past couple of years where they've been at home with COVID. They haven't been in classrooms. They're very electronic communicators. Yeah. So when it gets to a face-to-face situation, going through a recruitment process, they're so underprepared. They don't know what's expected of them as a candidate. I really wanted to find a way to support that and help them, I guess, transition from school into their employment, especially around the trades, because there are so many trade opportunities available in mining. So we developed a program. It's a 2-day program. The first day is largely centred around 3 main areas: critical thinking, communication and collaboration. Yep. So really teamwork exercises, giving them a really clear picture of what it's like to be a candidate, what we're asking for, what we're looking for in the mining industry. And then an engineering activity, a challenge that they do in the afternoon. And then the second day was a mine tour. And it was really that chance again to get them on site. Yep. We had current apprentices acted as mentors during the 2 days, so they had direct access to somebody that's doing what they are hoping to do themselves. We got such great feedback from it. We ran a pilot program last year in November at Lithgow High School. Yeah, and I've had the principal from Lithgow High School reached out through the Department of Education to see if we would be running it again.
Oh, that's
which was
so
amazing.
Good. Yeah.
So we do have plans to do some of those again this year. And it's just, again, it's that real opportunity just to have meaningful engagement with a student, allow them to see what we do and what's amazing about our industry, but also to offer them the chance to ask questions and get hands-on and just learn more about it, which again is my primary focus, is that really meaningful engagement.
Yeah. And do you do a similar thing with uni?
We do. So we have a degree ready. So fairly simple in our terminology, but it makes it really easy.
Exactly.
So degree ready was very much around we had a group of students that we took to University of Wollongong. Yep. They got the chance to do some really fun hands-on activities. Actually, I had the chance to do those activities as well. It was really fun. So we had like a ventilation project where the university had built like a vent simulation where they actually got to run smoke through this, simulated mine and put in the different closures so that they didn't create toxic environment for the employees down there. And it was amazing. It blew my mind, that activity.
That's so cool.
But they had the chance to do some hands-on activities. We went to the Southern Mines Rescue Station and actually had a walkthrough presentation and got to go through their mine simulator as well, which was amazing. And then the second day, they actually spent at the IMARC International Mining and Resources Conference, and they took part with the Oz Earth Ed ran a mining project in the morning. So they all competed in a mining project. I think it was more like a mining sustainability project. Okay. So they were given a task to complete, and then in the afternoon they got to cruise the conference floor and
Yeah.
check out everything that was down there. And I think, again, it just really meaningful for them, for people that, students that might think about uni.
Exactly.
Well, what are the different uni degrees? And again, not just mining engineering.
Yeah.
We want to promote mining engineering, absolutely, but there's so many other things that they could look at for mining.
Exactly. And do you do stuff with careers advisors as well to sort of loop them into what's going on in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key focuses that we had last year was to strengthen the relationships with the different career advisor networks. So around New South Wales, there's a REAP officer, regional industry partners that work with the schools. They're through the Department of Education, and then the career advisor networks themselves. And just like the students, I think educators don't always know what our industry can offer. So having that time, I'd maybe get a 20 or 30-minute presentation at one of their network meetings. But it's the real chance to showcase what we're doing in the state. Again, how I think the snapshot information often surprises people. How many operating mines we have, how many people work in the industry, how many metals and minerals we actually mine in the state. We meet with those groups as regularly as possible, keep them across the programs that we deliver, and really find out what we can do to support them as well. What is it that they need in their schools. And
that's so good. I mean, I remember, I guess, because mining was never really spoken about very much for me as a career in school, but I can't remember or pinpoint any moment where it really was.
No.
Whether there was anyone that came in like you guys to do, didn't have to be a VR thing, but even just to talk about, mining as an opportunity and as a career, it was just never spoken about.
No.
And that wasn't all that long ago.
No. Well, because you had sent through an idea of what we might talk about today, it got me to thinking of when I left high school.
Yep.
I remember having an interview with my careers advisor.
Yep.
And it was just an exit interview because I finished in Year 10. I wasn't staying on to do my HSC. And I remember having a discussion with her and being asked if I wanted to be a hairdresser or work in a bank. And I was like, I'm not really good with money. I mean, I like money. Scissors and hair, not for me. So I remember thinking, okay, well, I feel like on reflection, maybe I was underprepared for how to enter the workforce. But I think we've gone all the way the other way now. I think we're so good at educating students on what's out there that it must be so overwhelming. So I, again, really love this approach that we've established over the last 12 months or even longer with the council to get in front of students in a much more meaningful way and answer questions. And again, if you come out and they're not interested in mining, well, that's good. They know that they're not interested in mining.
Exactly.
And don't enter the industry with some sort of false idea. But then, if you get, like I said, 5 or 6 of them that come back and ask questions, and that's probably my favourite part of it, when you get those students that really do seem interested and keen and they want to know more.
Yeah. Without naming names or anything or areas, is there a student or a situation that sticks with you?
There's probably 2. One was when I was working with Centennial. There was a student that came to a careers expo in Bathurst. And he came along with his dad, and he was really excited and wanted to know about, how to be an apprentice and how to get an apprenticeship. And, we had a really great conversation that day.
Yeah.
And then about 4 months later, I saw his name come up in the applicant list. And he, by his own merits, made it through the process and became an apprentice with Centennial. And if he hears this podcast, he will know who he is because we laugh about this story all the time. Because on the group interview day, when we had our assessment centre day, that student made a point of coming up to me and saying, do you remember me from Bathurst Expo? And it was lovely because he had gone away and thought about all the things that I had spoken to him about, and I could see that he had injected that into his application and how he approached his application. And
you had an impact on him.
But you really do feel like you actually have the chance to affect some positive change for that person.
Exactly.
And the second one was a bit more recently. I was at a school in the Bathurst area again too, so I don't know what it is about Bathurst, but it was a female student, and they had the opportunity to opt into a session that I was running at the school that day.
Yep.
So, sometimes the teachers will organise for a maths or a science class to come along, or a careers class to come along, and you'll have a lot of students. And then sometimes they have the opportunity to opt in.
Yep.
And she had opted into this particular session, and I'm always grateful when I get in there if there's more than about 10, because they're usually taking up their own lunch breaks or things like that to be there. Anyway, I was there and did my presentation on mining and answered some questions and had a bit of a discussion going. And she came up to me at the end of the session and said that I had really messed things up for her now, because she thought that she knew what she wanted to do. But now she wasn't so sure, and she was going to do some more investigating. And then a few weeks later, I ran into her again at another careers expo, and she made a point of coming over and said that I had changed her life because she has now chosen something completely different and will be entering the mining industry and was heading off to uni. So
there you go.
Yeah, those are definitely the moments that make all of it worthwhile.
That's awesome.
When you feel like you can actually help a student find a passion that maybe they didn't even know about. So.
Exactly. It's such a critical point in their lives.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like there's so much pressure to make a decision about what you want to do when you leave school.
Definitely.
I got goosebumps with that story.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It always makes me feel really good. I think there's days where it does get tough, especially, I don't know how teachers
I don't know
survive a school term, because sometimes you can be in with a group of students and it might be a bit more challenging, and then you sort of have to come out and remember that you have had moments where it's been wonderful.
Exactly.
But again, I really feel like it's why I do what I do. It's why I wanted the role with New South Wales Minerals Council. I was completely chuffed that I was even asked about the role to start with, but it's just so in line with what I hope we can do for students in our industry.
Yeah, exactly. And for many years to come, because there are so many jobs and so much opportunity in this industry.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to this year? School's kicked off.
School's kicked off. I'm most looking forward to giving the trade readies a proper test run. So we did a pilot.
Yep.
So I'd like to see us roll out a few of those with hopefully industry assistance, because we need lots of mine tours and lots of apprentice mentors, and really just finding ways to improve what we do. I definitely don't want to just churn out the same programs every year.
Yep.
I feel like our industry changes and innovates itself so regularly that definitely what we do and how we approach what we do needs to follow the same. Interested to see what the next 12 months will bring. But definitely engagement with students, meaningful engagement with students.
Definitely.
High up there.
That's awesome. Well, if there is a school or a student or anything who's maybe listening and wants to find out more or get involved, is there a best way to find info on what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we're revamp of our website, our careers website. I have a new tool on there called the Adventure Finder. So the Adventure Finder's going to be great for students that maybe think they're interested but don't know what they could do in the mining industry. So it's going to ask just a few key little prompt questions and then deliver them a package of roles that might be suitable for them, but then obviously access to everything that they could do. So definitely the website, and there's also the careers email address as well. So we can, leave that in the...
I'll pop that in the little
bio.
Pop that
in the links. But there's absolutely ways to reach out and connect.
Awesome. That's so good. Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Your first one.
Oh, my first one. I was very nervous.
Nailed it. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Digging Deeper with At The Coalface. You can download more episodes of the podcast on all your favourite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on YouTube, Amazon Music, all the places. Make sure you leave us a rating and a review. We'd love to hear what you thought. And if you do have a story idea or something you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, please send me an email, jess@thecoalface.net.au. I'd love to hear from you. And we'll be back next time for another episode of Digging Deeper with At The Coalface.